Morning, everyone.
Morning.
Thank you, all of you who are here today. Welcome. It looks like the snow here in Richmond is slowing down just a bit, but I really do appreciate everyone making it in this morning. I believe we have a quorum, Mr. Vice Chairman.
Yes, we do, Madam Secretary.
So yesterday we suspended the workshop because we had intended to pick it up this morning. Given the weather, we are going to adjourn the workshop and pick that up next month. We will cover everything on the agenda then. I know, be excited to come back next week. We will pick up the work session next month. So we will go straight into our action meeting this morning. So I'm adjourning the workshop. We will go right into the action meeting. Okay, with that, do we have anyone signed up for public comment this morning?
There's.
Would anyone who has not signed up, would anyone care to speak this morning? Okay, lots of smiles, however. Very good. With that, Ken Ernest. Oh, excuse me. Come on up to the podium. We're just going to do the minutes first. Yes. We need to approve the minutes.
Motion. Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. Mr. Ernest.
Good morning. Secretary, Commissioner, members of the board, I'm Ken Ernest. I'm the Acting State Operations Engineer for VDOT, and today I'm seeking your approval to award the ITS Infrastructure and Field Maintenance Services contract. Last month, my predecessor, Dean Gustafson, gave a presentation about the contract, and I'll just touch on some of the key points real briefly. So the contract is for providing turnkey, preventative, and corrective maintenance services for all of our ITS assets. That includes our traffic cameras, dynamic message signs, traffic sensors, and a number of other devices. So the contract has a 3-year base with 2 one-year renewal periods. It's a multi-award contract, and we're recommending award to Elite Contracting Group to service the eastern half of the state and Digital Traffic Systems to service the western half. So for the 3-year base, total contract value for Elite Contracting Group is $29.7 million, and total value for Digital Traffic Systems, $8.98 million. And with that, I'd be happy to take any questions.
I have a motion. Oh, Mr. Katzwitz, do you have a question?
We want a motion first.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
A second. Thank you. Discussion? Mr. Katzwitz.
I think if we recall, when we workshopped this, there was really no competition on this. And I guess I expressed my concerns at that time. I understand that the competitive process is not guaranteed, but I'd like to see us take some proactive steps to make certain that when we find ourselves bidding this contract again, that we have some idea of why people didn't bid it this time. And so my request is that we do some formal outreach to those who attended the bidders conference, which I understand was well attended, but it didn't turn into active bids. And contact them with some type of definitive survey that seeks their input on why they would attend the bidders conference and then not bid, and then use that information hopefully to be in a better position to have competition when we bid this again in 3 years. And to the extent that you can do this in some relatively short period of time, I'd like to get the feedback that you get from the vendors in some consolidated, simple format so that we, the board, can look at that and have a better understanding of why people chose not to bid. And learn lessons from that experience that we can hopefully use to benefit us next time.
Any other comments? I will say, I thought the discussion we had last month when this was first introduced was very good. And while it's my understanding that we do look at, the bidding process in a regional way, not just district, I do think we're going to follow up on your thoughts about that, making sure we are doing that. So anyway, yes, I think looking at our bidding process and the competition and all that we do, we're going to try to refine that.
Good. On this point in particular, Madam Secretary, can we get a definitive time frame that we might get some feedback on this?
Yes, I'd like to work with the commissioner on this, and perhaps we can before
say 120 days.
Pardon me?
Do we say 120 days for some feedback after having surveyed the bidders or potential bidders?
I think that's reasonable.
Okay.
Yes.
Good, thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Excuse me. We need to vote. So all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you again.
Thank you.
Bronco. Good morning. Good morning. May I ask you, I've heard your name pronounced different ways. Vlakic?
Sausage, like the pickle.
Vlakic.
Can't go wrong with that
Good
one.
morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
So happy you're here.
I'm thrilled to be here. Secretary Valentine, Commissioners, CTB board members, good morning. I have one decision briefing before you today. It's from the Rockingham County Board of Supervisors, Stanton District. Commemorative naming of State Route 280, Stone Spring Road as the William G. O'Brien Memorial Highway. The Rockingham County Board of Supervisors is requesting that the CTB honor and memorialize the life and service of William G. O'Brien. William Bill O'Brien became county administrator of Rockingham County in 1977. Leading the county as it grew from rural to a suburban community, his notable achievements helped to enhance the quality of life for all county residents, and he worked with other local governments to develop innovative joint programs in social services, emergency communications, and public health. Bill has also earned numerous awards and accolades for his work. VDOT supports this request.
A motion?
I'd like to make this motion, please.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please stand.
Aye. Thank you.
Excuse me, 1 second. Here we go. Good morning. Let's see. Ms. Keene,
Morning,
welcome.
Secretary, Commissioner, members of the board. I do have one action item for you this morning. It's a limited access change in Spotsylvania County in Fredericksburg District. It's located at the Route 606, along the Route 606 corridor to make pedestrian improvements on Route 1 along Interstate 95. The modification to the limited access is to provide access to vehicles crossing the new bridge at Mud Tavern Road, which is Route 606, and pedestrian traffic along the sidewalks. The location and design public hearing was held at the Thornburg Middle School cafeteria on Tuesday, November 14th, 2017. The project was endorsed by the County Administrator of Spotsylvania in a letter dated December 2017. The limited access control change was approved by Federal Highway in a letter dated February 23rd, 2018, and the total cost for the project is $29 million. I'm requesting approval for the limited access change.
The motion?
So moved.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying
Aye.
thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Pryor. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Secretary, members of the board. I have 3 items for your action today. The first is the amendment of 2 projects to the 6-year program. One is funded with RSTP through the Northern Virginia MPO, and the other is a Loudoun County project funded with NVTD bonds, and both would not be subject to smart scale. I recommend your approval.
Move approval.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you.
The second item is our normal monthly transfers of surplus funds to scheduled projects, and I recommend your approval.
Move approval.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed?
And the last item is an item that I briefed you all on last month. It's the Sudley Road Smart Scale reevaluation. If you recall, there's a component of the project that's being eliminated from the scope, and the termini of the project are actually being extended, which results in actually a better project. And the city has requested approval of the scope change and the use of the district grant funding to continue to pay for the project. And I recommend your approval.
Move approval.
Second.
Any discussion?
Question.
Yes, sir.
I forgot, what's the differential in dollars that are being?
None. The total cost remains the same, and the city has agreed that if there is any additional cost that they don't expect right now, they will cover that cost.
Is this the one, Kim, where the underground was involved?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. Ms. Brown, good morning.
Morning, Madam Chairman, members of the board. I have one resolution for you, and that is the approval of a policy change for the high-volume unpaid road program. This is the program that I made a presentation on yesterday. There are two recommended changes in the policy, one being adding the word up to allow flexibility on the allocation. The second is to increase the allocation to $500,000, and we recommend your approval of this policy change.
Do I have a motion?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Thank you.
Farmer. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Secretary, members of the board. This morning for your consideration is the action on authorizing the issuance and sale of the Commonwealth Virginia Transportation Capital Projects Revenue Bond Series 2018. We provided to you a series of documents to review. In addition, our bond counsel for this transaction is here. Greg Cibertoli with Williams Mullen is here for any questions that you might have. The authorizing legislation caps our issuance amount at $155 million. This is slightly higher than the amount I presented to you last month. It provides us a little bit of flexibility as we continue to look at both expectations for both agencies as well as market conditions. And I'll take any questions that you might have.
I have a motion.
Motion.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. Great. Welcome.
Morning, Secretary Valentine, members of the board. Before you today with 9 items for your action. Go ahead and get started. Order number 318. This is a maintenance-funded plant mix job in Lynchburg District. We had 2 bidders on the job. We find good value and recommend award.
Move approval.
Second.
All those in, oh, any discussion? I'm looking at Mr. Casperwith. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you for making that motion. I was thinking, ooh, should I make it?
No,
Or yes,
no.
yeah, thank you.
We'll cover you out here, Madam
Thank you. I know, I was looking over at Mr. Rosen was studying the bid, so I did wonder. Thanks.
The next job is order number 532. This is a maintenance-funded scheduled plant mix in Hampton Roads District, out on the Eastern Shore, Accomack. This job is why I handed out that extra information. We performed a very similar analysis that we provided last month for this job that was a single bidder, sole bidder. We compared it to other bids received, similar work, so you can see a difference even though there was only one bidder. You see
Mr.
Motion.
Marlin? Mr. Marlin? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, Mr. Johnson.
Move its approval.
Second.
Any discussion?
Question. So in soliciting bids for this, do we go out of state? I mean, is Maryland an option from a plant mix perspective for bidding this?
For Accomack, there are some plants up in, on the eastern shore. Once you get into Maryland, this is open to the public. You could have providers come from Maryland. We typically don't see it coming down this far, if you will, into the district, but I mean, yes, it is available to bidders in other states.
We have the option of proactively reaching out to these other bidders and letting them know there's an advertisement out?
Yes, we do. Yes.
And do we do that? So is it clear that they were aware that there was a bid and they chose not to bid it?
Can't confirm that. I can't answer that question. I mean, looking at the plan holders list, we do track who purchases plans for these types of jobs, for all of our jobs, and no one in Maryland. I'd have to go back to confirm this, but it is my belief that no one in Maryland purchased plans to entertain bidding on the job.
May I suggest that we add that?
Yeah, I think there are a number of places we may do.
To the agenda for looking at the bidding process.
Madam Secretary?
Yes, sir.
I certainly empathize with Mr. Kasworth in trying to solicit more bids, but I think you have to realize that in reality, sometimes in these rural locations, going after bidders outside the realm of possibility just encourages probably a higher bid if they're going to make that kind of effort. So I think we have to be cognizant that could happen, Scott, in certain areas.
No, I suggest that whatever we do be reasonable, but, you know, if we're bound by state lines, we shouldn't be. If, you know, if there's an asphalt plant that's within a reasonable haul distance for Virginia work, I think they should be part of the bid process.
I think that these locations and the type of work are pushing that limit for what you're talking about. We have seen that type of competition before, but it is rare.
Madam Secretary, in this particular case, I did talk with a local jurisdictional manager about the situation, and they did solicit bids in Maryland. How far up into Maryland, I'm not quite sure. But I also recognize, and I'm sensitive to your issue, because I too have that same concern, not only with the Eastern Shore, with the two counties on the other side of the bay, but also with things going on within the VDOT organization directly, especially in rural areas. But there are other issues as well from a competitive standpoint I think we need to take a look at.
I think we just want to make sure that the process is as competitive as possible, and we're going to follow up on that. And I do appreciate the extra work that you all are doing to ensure at least we're making the best decision we can with the information we have.
No,
so
not a problem.
Thank you very much for that.
Thank you for this. It's very helpful.
Yes. And to Mr. Moore as well. I think Garrett Moore kind of led that last month, and so I am grateful for that. So with that, we have a motion on the table, and so all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you.
Welcome. The next job is order number 731, another maintenance-funded scheduled job. It's a plant mix in Culpeper District. We had 2 bidders on this project. This project was below the EE, the evaluative estimate, and we are recommending award.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you.
Next job is order number 125, another maintenance-funded plant mix in Bristol District. 2 bidders on this job. We are recommending award.
Second. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Next job is order number 126, maintenance-funded plant mix schedule job in Bristol District. 2 bidders, and we're recommending award.
Second.
Aye.
Aye.
Next job is order number 127, another maintenance-funded plant mix job in Bristol District. Again, 2 bidders, and we find good value and recommend award.
Second.
Discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Next Next job is order number 128, another Bristol District plant mix maintenance funded job. Again, 2 bidders. Low bid received was below the evaluative estimate, and we recommend award.
Second.
I notice all of these are to the same vendor. I assume we've got good experience with this vendor.
Yes, sir.
Anything else? First, say aye.
Aye.
Last scheduled job, order number 129, another maintenance-funded plant mix job in Bristol District. Again, 2 bidders. The low bid received was below the evaluative estimate. We're recommending award.
Second.
Discussion. Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Last job today is a construction job. It's order number L89. This is Roslyn Circle improvements in the Northern Virginia District. 6 bidders on this job. We find good value and recommend award to the low bidder.
Move approval.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you, Secretary.
Thank you. Okay. Anything else? Any new business?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I would just note, I put at folks' desk yesterday the copy of the Northern Virginia Transportation Authority's annual report. It's out. It's on the web as well as hard copy. And they've done a very nice job of showing where the money's being spent, both at the regional level and by the locals, and I thought people might enjoy having that presentation.
Great. And I also followed up on your recommendation to me yesterday, reminding us about coming up with a policy about our expectations at public hearings. So we're adding that to to our list as well.
Thank you.
So anything else for today? Yes, sir.
Madam Secretary, just to let the board know that we are in the process of trying to get a first draft of our orientation program for new members of the CTB to you next month. So hopefully on your desk next month, and part of the workshop will be that draft, which still needs some work that we're doing right now. That's the update.
Thank you. Anything else? I did want to follow up at the, and I was really happy that the governor was the one who brought it up. And it was announced last Thursday, but 66 outside the Beltway was named Best Road Deal of the Year by IJ Global. And so Marteza Farajan and Renee Hamilton went up to New York to pick up the award last Thursday. And I was bringing this up in the cabinet meeting, and Aubrey and I both acknowledged the work that this board did in making that all possible. So I wanted to share that with all of you. So anything else? Okay, and with that, we will adjourn and we will pick up all the other information next month. You all please be safe going home, and thank you again for being here this morning.
Madam Secretary,
Yes.
next month we're meeting in Hampton Roads, and I've mentioned this to several people, whether they had any interest to go to the Bay Bridge Tunnel to see the entrance being under construction where the boring machine will go. Some people have an interest in that. Some people hate our field trip, so me being one. But so if there's any interest, if you could kind of communicate that to Carol, I appreciate it. And so we'll be staying at the Red Roof Inn at Virginia Beach.
About 30 minutes outside of town.
The good news, it's been remodeled.
Turn these in. Leave the iPads. Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
Anything else? With that, we are adjourned. Y'all, thank you.